Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia, has grown into the largest and most advanced city in Indonesia. And even it's on its way to be a global city. And one of the things to realize it is in the transportation sector. So to find out more about Jakarta and its transportation development. Joining us on today's VOI Talk, Ibu Rika Zikriyyah as the head of the economic sector at the Jakarta Planning and Development Agency, or BAPPEDA Jakarta. Hello, good afternoon, Ibu Rika. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Pleasure is ours to have you here to talk more about Jakarta and its transportation. Lately, Jakarta Governor Pramono Anung wants that the Indonesian capital to become one of the world's top 50 global cities by 2030, calling for reforms, including in transportation. So how does Jakarta's transportation strategy to improve connectivity and mobility for citizens in the context of a global city?
Okay, thank you for the questions. So Jakarta's transportation strategy has really evolved in recent years to tackle some challenges, things like traffic congestions, fragmented public transport services, and the issues of mobility in general. The goal is to build a more integrated, efficient, and inclusive transport systems that reflects the standard of modern global cities. So one of our focus and strategy is to expand our mass rapid transit infrastructures. For instance, MRT Jakarta North South Phase 1, which connects Lebak Bulus to Bundaran HI, that state operate since March 2019, has already made a huge difference by cutting travel times along the south-north corridor of Jakarta. And right now, the phase 2 is underway, extending the line to Kota Tua in North Jakarta, which will serve the old city and northern commercial zones and residential area. Similarly, the LRT Jakarta phase 1 that connects Pegangsaan 2 with Velodrome has been operated since end of the 2019. It caters the mobility for citizens in eastern part of Jakarta, and now we also in the phase of development for LRT phase 1B that will link East Jakarta to the central areas with connections to major transport hubs, Manggarai. We also develop and improve the quality of Transjakarta, which is the world's longest BRT systems that covering over 250 kilometers. It serves around 90% of Jakarta area that consists of the BRT systems, the trunk line, the feeder systems, and also the microtrans. Probably most of us know it as Angkot. And the latest development of Transjakarta, now it's not only serve Jakarta internal area, but also to surrounding areas like Bekasi, Bogor, Tangerang, through providing a feeder service called Trans Jabodetabek. This is helping us to reduce the reliance on private vehicles for the commuters coming to Jakarta from greater surroundings Jakarta. But if we're talking about connectivity, we not only building a transport network, we also try to develop more seamless transportation systems. That's where the multimodal integrations comes in. And in Jakarta, we're doing it primarily through the Jaklingko programs. So the Jaklingko programs is a systems that brings together the MRT Jakarta, LRT Jakarta, and Transjakarta, and also the microtrans. Not only integrated physically, but also integrated as systems and fare systems. So there are one unified fare and route systems that kept within a 3-hour windows that makes commuting more affordable and convenient, especially for daily users of public transport. We also embedding transport into the fabric of the city through the developments of several transit-oriented development or TODs. Areas like Duku Atas, Blok M, Fatmawati, and Lebak Bulus. It's the examples of the TOD that we will develop in a couple of years. And around these public transport stations, we are planning to develop more mixed-use developments such as the office, housing, and retail spaces, combined with sidewalks for the pedestrians, bicycle path, and easy and accessible stations access. We hope that we can create more vibrant and also like walkable neighborhoods and reducing the needs for long distance or car travel. We also aligning our efforts to make a public transport that global in Jakarta by collaborating with many stakeholders, whether it's the central government, the state-owned enterprises, other local governments, the regional-owned enterprises, development partner, and even the private company for improving the connectivity, which is very vital for intercity movement within the metropolitan region. So not only in Jakarta, but also in Jabodetabek area. So basically, our strategies aren't just about moving people faster, but about the transforming Jakarta into a more transit-oriented, people-friendly city. And in doing so, we are improving the mobility, boosting the economic productivity, and moving toward a more sustainable and globally competitive urban in the world.
Okay, so Ibu Rika integrated here means like, for example, someone who takes LRT but haven't arrived in the destination, they can continue the trip with the other modes of transportation like Transjakarta or MRT. That's
Yes, correct. So people can take like one modes of public transport and change or shift to another modes within one particular systems called Jaklingko. So it makes like, moving between modes more seamlessly.
Okay, and you also mentioned before about convenience and safety. Convenience here usually also related to the on-time scheduling, how to make sure it.
So basically, in Transjakarta fleet, of course, if we're talking about the rail-based transport modes, which is MRT and LRT, the system itself is already make sure that the fleet will comes like very on time, because there is like some what they call it, like key indicators that we ask the provider of MRT and LRT to make sure that their fleet coming on time. But then for the road-based transport, which is the BRT, there's what they call it, like some challenges, because not all the networks of the BRT, it's like a dedicated bus lane. It's still like in several parts of Jakarta, we're still facing there are mixed use of the bus lanes in many of the bus lanes in Jakarta. So in order to make sure the on-time performance of BRT bus fleets, we put the GPS systems in each fleet, so it makes sure that people who waiting at the bus stations know exactly when the bus will come to the stations. And other than that, we also collaborate with Google Maps in order to give them informations that they can use the Google Maps to manage their what they call it, like a mobility plan. So from point A to point B, which public transport modes that will give them like the shorter time periods, and also like how long they need to wait in the bus stop or in an MRT stop until the fleet coming.
Okay, and when it comes to fleet scheduling, we've got information here from PT Transportasi Jakarta or Transjakarta, which is developing artificial intelligence or AI technology to automate fleet scheduling based on real-time field conditions. What do you think about this?
I think that is very important, and also like one strategic that great strategy that used by the Transjakarta and also for the others operators of public transport, because as we know that now we need to cope with the technology, right? Because by utilizing the technology into our daily activities, it really helps. Like in Jakarta, we also utilize the AI to help us to serve the peoples better. For example, not only like in public transport, but we also have like Jakarta super apps, which call Jaki, where we utilize the AI and technology to give a better services or government services for all the citizens in Jakarta. So basically, like if it's related to the technology-based services, Jakarta is very like promote these kinds of adaptability of services using the AI.
All right. Now, transportation and environmental issues pose significant challenges indeed in Jakarta. So, how does Jakarta transportation strategy reduce environmental impact and improve safety?
Yes, indeed, it's a very important how the strategy of transportation development can help to reduce the environmental impact and improve safety for. So basically, especially in a city like Jakarta, where urban mobility or urban transport has been a major source of air pollution and traffic-related risks. So Jakarta transportation strategy has really started to align more closely with broader climate goals and public safety priorities. So, for example, from an environmental perspective, sorry, can you hear my voice? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear your voice clearly.
Sorry, there's some connectivity issues here.
Okay.
So, for example, from an environmental perspective, the city is shifting away from car-centric plannings and making serious investment in public transport, as we already know. Jakarta has taken some approach combining both pull and push strategy to encourage a shift from private vehicles to public transport. For example, the expansions of MRT, LRT, and BRT networks developments. It's as one of the pull sites where making people to shift to the more environmental friendly modes options. And the other than that, we also give some subsidy for the transport public user, and we also develop more pedestrians friendly infrastructures so that people can choose for what you call it, like more environmental friendly mobility options. And other than that, we also do some kind of push strategy. For example, some measures to discourage private vehicles usage. For example, like the license plate restrictions, the progressive parking fees, even though it's still in the term of developing the new regulations related to that. We also will introduce the electronic road pricings in a couple of years. And we also try to reallocations of road space. As you probably may see in the major roads of Jakarta, now the road it's not as wide as it used to be. Now we have like a dedicated bike lanes, and we also develop more wider pedestrians area. So those are several several measures that we use to help people shift to public transport, which is more environmental friendly than the car oriented development that we have several years ago.
Yeah, hopefully those lanes and spaces can be used wisely. And of course, Jakarta wants to reach all levels of society, right? Including people with disabilities. How does it work?
Yes, in developing the transport sectors, like the public transport sectors, in order to make it like more inclusive, we actually like put the accessibility as a central for Jakarta transportation development vision. So we working to make sure that everyone, regardless of age, income, or physical ability, to move around the city with ease and more accessibility. For example, in developing the infrastructures, we try to make our MRT and LRT stations that are designed to international accessibility standards. That means that you will find like elevators, wheelchair ramps, and tactile paving for the visually impaired, braille signage, and priority seating areas for people with disabilities. And in Transjakarta, we also like try to gradually retrofitting bus shelters and deploying more low floor buses to make boarding and sitting easier for people with mobility challenges. And another part, it's like affordability is also like another key part of accessibility. So one of the strategy that we have or through the Jaklingko Fair integrations programs, we introduce subsidies and also free fares for people with disabilities, for the senior citizens, for the low-income residents and students. So, for example, like someone with a disability who registered to our database can ride Transjakarta, MRT, LRT for free. That is about we are doing those strategy to ensure that no one is left behind in the city. So we want to make sure that peoples with financial barriers can also like utilize the public transport that are provided by the city for its citizens. And also not only in the public transport, but we also try to redesign the public spaces, especially like the sidewalks, with universal designs principles. As you can see, like the places that we already like do some revitalizations, including in Sudirman, Tamrin, and Cikini area. Now the pedestrians is more wide. It's wider, and it's we can say it like it's obstacle-free walkways. There is some curb cuts and texture surface just to make sure that all the infrastructures built by the government can cater the needs of all citizens, inclusive for all the citizens.
For all citizens. So, Jakarta regional government has provided all for all levels of society. So now how can the public participate in transportation planning and development in Jakarta?
So the public participations is becoming a cornerstone for how we plan and deliver the transportations projects in Jakarta. The city has recognized the top-down planning alone. It's not enough for developing the inclusive and participative development. So we need inputs from all the stakeholders. We need inputs from the user of our developments, which is the citizens, from the people who use the public transport, the people that use the sidewalks, ride the bus, and other peoples that do their daily activities in Jakarta. So there are several ways that the citizens can get involved and all the stakeholders can get involved, and we've really tried to create a mix of digital and in-person platform. For example, as I mentioned before, we have like we have a super apps called Jaki that people can actively involved in the development by report day-to-day issues like the damaged sidewalks or the broken traffic lights or unsafe crossings. And beyond just for collecting the complaints, these platforms also use to gather feedbacks and suggestions from the citizen. So for example, as we have like a new development of transport infrastructures, people that have complaints, they can do this platform to give their inputs, and it will be directly directed to the technical units that taking care of that programs of that infrastructures to improve the quality of the services they have. And for the larger scale projects, we also what all the agencies in Jakarta, for example, BAPPEDA or technical units like Dinas Perhubungan, we organize the stakeholders meetings. We organize some town halls and FGDs. So, for example, in the planning of Duku Atas TOD area, the local residents, the street vendors, business owners, and other stakeholders were invited to participate in design workshop to ensure that the development of the Duku Atas TOD area reflected the real community needs. So it won't be like, quite different with what actually people over there is needed. That kind of inclusive planning process leads to better outcomes of the designs and the higher, ownership and engagement from the stakeholders nearby area. We also have a formal one. We have more structured forms of participations through the annual Musrenbang. So the Musrenbang, it's like focus group discussions start from the very low level of development planning agenda, musyawarah perencanaan pembangunan, which happens at the district and municipalities level. So in that event, the citizen can propose the tangible development related improvements, especially for the transport sectors, like added pedestrian crossings or safer signage in their area. So basically, like for participating citizens, we do a lot of strategies to make sure that all their voices are heard and their concerns are implemented in the development processes.
Okay, Ibu Rika, hopefully Jakarta transportation will stay integrated, inclusive, convenient, and safe, and realizing a global city by 2030. And hopefully after this, VOI listeners, especially the international one, have no doubt to visit Jakarta and enjoy the city's transportation. Thank you so much, Ibu Rika. Hopefully we'll have another 1 hour session next time to dig deeper about this issue. Thank you for joining us on today's VOI Talk.
I hope it will give more clear
yes.
about Jakarta today.
Certainly. Thank you and have a good day, Ibu Rika.
Thank you so much. Have a good day for you guys too.
Well, listener, that's today's VOI Talk, talking about Jakarta's transportation in a global city with Ibu Rika Zikriyyah, head of the economic sector at the Jakarta Planning and Development Agency, or BAPPEDA. Stay tuned for more inspiring, insightful talks on VOI Talk from Voice of Indonesia, from Indonesia to the world.
Voice of Indonesia, the overseas service of Radio Republic Indonesia, broadcast in 9 language services: English,